everyone, and welcome to Talk Together. Thank you for joining us this evening for an evening of talking about Dungeons and Dragons together with, I'm me. So I'll be one of the people doing it. My name's Naail Ishaq. Lovely to meet you guys. And we'll be chatting with our wonderful Rebecca Hare. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Rebecca Hare. I don't know about the wonderful, but thanks. I am an actor and a musician, and I play D&D, sometimes on the internet, more often in my house with snacks.
And what a better place to do it than with snacks. Not in your house, just with snacks. Any place is home when you've got snacks. Today, we will be going through some lovely questions by rolling some lovely dice. And those will pick the questions. And, randomness will ensue. We'll find out. We'll find out what's going on. But before we do kick off, we will be running for about an hour. We're delighted to be sponsored by Hero Forge, Ultra Pro and Elderwood Academy, and supported by D&D Beyond, and two wonderful video games, Warriors of Waterdeep and Warriors of Waterdeep, and then just Level Up Dice. We are Roll Together RPG on all social media, and a massive thank you to our D20 club on Patreon. Our dice heads are amazing and make this show possible. All our shows are available as podcasts. Just search Roll Together RPG on your favorite podcasting app, and we should be on that, hopefully. But all that's done. Hello, Rebecca. Long time no see.
Hi, Naail. It's really good to see you.
It's been a while. It genuinely is. I think myself and Rebecca play a home game with Chris, Emma, Evie, and Rebecca's partner. And we all, Joe played.
That's
on
him.
The stream, doesn't he? Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no, Joe hasn't played on stream.
Oh, hasn't it? Oh, well, there you go. So you look out for him. Maybe we'll drag him in one day. But yeah, we occasionally play a home game over the Zooms because some of us are all over the place. And that's the last time we saw each other than playing in Buried.
Yeah, and we've all been annoyingly busy and professional, so we haven't actually played in a while. It's really
exactly, busy. How was Romeo and Juliet? I believe you were playing the part of love.
Yeah, yeah, it was good. We opened really spectacularly well, which was always a relief, given the first time we ever ran through it from start to finish without stopping was our opening night, which is always fun. But yeah, it now runs for yeah.
Congrats for doing a smashing job.
Yeah, but it happens. And the two singers are exceptional. So even if it had been awful, they would have just sung beautifully and it would still have been great. But it all made sense and it worked, and they laughed in the right places and they cried in the right places. And yeah, we're now running till June. So it's a project, but it's been so much fun to get back on stage in front of real life audience.
Well, congratulations and all the best for moving forward with it. I hope it keeps going stronger and stronger, and yeah, just all the best for it. So, shall we start rolling those dice, get into the D&D's questions? This is the D&D's. I'm the cool one.
I'm not gonna do that because I would embarrass myself more than you just embarrassed yourself. So
I don't know what you're on about. Anyway, roll that dice, everyone. Let's see what we got. I'm using a physical dice today. We rolled a 16.
Ooh.
No modifiers available. Maybe we could just add your charisma modifier. What would that be?
Oh, like +5 on a
+5, exactly. Actor's life for me. So 16 is if you could make yourself in D&D, who would you be?
Oh no!
Great question.
Yeah, definitely has to be something charisma based. It's my only skill. I have no dex. I'm the clumsiest person alive. No con, no strength, and not much wisdom. So it has to be a charisma based character.
Sounds like a warlock to me.
I think a couple of years ago I'd have gone with Bard because I spend my time singing and talking at people and then they pay me. But I think it might have to be a paladin.
A paladin?
My friends and family tell me I am like a paladin.
Extremely religious and willing to kill for it.
That is exactly it. Something to do with charisma and then trying to stand up for things you sort of think are important and occasionally putting your foot in it because you think you're right. Paladin.
Think being the operative word. Yeah.
Oh no, Naail, I am always right at all times.
Exactly. Okay, yeah. And that's fine. Then,
I'm not. I know I'm not. And then, either a wood elf or a half elf, I think.
Yeah.
I'm quite lanky, so something quite lanky. Yeah. And then I like running away and hiding up mountains and in forests and things.
Not like an eldering elf with like all the different springtimes and summers and stuff.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of an eldering.
Yeah,
springtime eldering. Let's go for that.
Yeah, I felt those vibes. So springtime eldering paladin. So let's say we started off at level 1. You know, the journey's been great so far in Favor, and I don't know. You've been at Waterdeep. You've done some level 1 stuff. Or maybe you went to Candlekeep. You did the first 3 missions. Wow, God, making it sound like a video game nowadays. But you got level 3 now. You get you get your oath at level 3. So what paladin oath would you think you'd take?
Oh, I might be quite sanctimonious and go for Oath of Devotion.
Ah, nice.
Like as a player, I would pick an Avenger every time because they're so much fun. But as a human being, probably Oath of Devotion.
Yeah, if Rebecca Hare was flung into the Forgotten Realms, Oath of Devotion's where you're going. Which god do you think you'd fall into then? How is your god pantheon knowledge? Jesus. No. Is it Jesus?
I don't actually know much about other So the cleric I'm playing at the moment is actually the first person who ever worships anyone. I normally steer quite clear of that in D&D because it doesn't interest me as much as all the other things in D&D. I am a Christian and I grew up in a vicarage. So a lot of my real life is around churches and God and all those kind of things. So I
playing D&D to escape. Yeah.
Yes, it's to escape Jesus. No, but like
Jesus is everywhere.
But like D&D is for trying stuff that you don't get to do in real life. And then, if I have to think about, but I worship this person, is that different or the same as how Rebecca would do it? That's less fun than just like, I punch people. I don't know much about the Pantheon.
To be fair, that's totally fair. I mean, you've clearly probably one of the few people who play D&D and their first character is just them. Just because I don't know. But I know I did it. I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends, when we think about it, we think, when we played our first character. Yeah, we were basically just being us in D&D, weren't we?
To be fair, the first character I ever made for myself was a paladin. I'd forgotten this. It was quite a long time ago. I dumped her quite quickly because I built her really badly, partly mechanically badly. She was an Avenger and she was great, but also her backstory, I made her really difficult to play in a way that was fun for anyone else at the table. She was very much like... Actually, I think she was prototype Persephone in some way. She was very much of, I grew up in a cult of people that told me that this was right and that these things were right. And then I've realized they're super bad and I'm going to go get enough power until I can come back and kill them. So really prototype Persephone. But she was so sanctimonious, which I hope isn't just what I'm like. I don't think that's just I built me, but it was just not fun in game because she took herself really seriously and then was really sanctimonious. So the other people in the party obviously wanted to take the mick of her and they're just like, no, this isn't fun. So I dumped her really quickly and swapped her out for a warlock, a satyr warlock in Theros, which with the same group of people, which is a much happier, sillier game. And he doesn't take himself seriously at all.
There you go, and that's the way it goes. And to be fair, that's what growing is at the end of the day. I know that if I was to make me as a character now, it'd be a lot different than when I started. I think I started as a ranger and I've moved forward. Do you know what I mean?
Move forward to where? Where would you go?
Oh, definitely warlock. Definitely, 100%. Sell my soul for a bag of chips, I would.
Charisma based, active. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
What pact? What pact of warlock?
Hexblade's the only one worth going for. Really so. It's just like it's one of those like I've got a lot of martial arts training through my life, but I know for a fact I'd be a lot better at killing someone with my charisma than I would with any strength or dex based stuff. But yeah, no, I think yeah, it's a wonderful thing being able to like grow and change your characters and change who you're going to be. And yeah, it's funny that you said, maybe be a paladin. Actually, the first one was a paladin.
I had forgotten because I didn't play her for very long, and I'm not particularly proud of her as a character. But yeah, she was there, and she was an important step on the road. Because she came back in some way as Persephone, who was infinitely cooler.
Would you ever consider like going back and sort of like one of my favorite things to do with my very first character was to actually play them later on, like go back to it and develop the character, even to an extent start again.
Yeah, that would be kind of fun. Yeah, I might jiggle her stats around a bit because again, it was my first character I'd ever built myself. Yeah. I know I've played with David now. I know how to optimize, but yeah, and I would like to play a charisma-based character. Again, I haven't in a while because that's my default. So I try and challenge myself to not just playing someone who is always the face. And again, that's sort of what I do in my life. So, yeah. But yeah, I think my next character I roll should maybe be a charisma-based. And maybe going back to pull Elodie the Paladin out of the trash heap and her a bit of empathy might be quite fun. From personal experience, I've really enjoyed it. So yeah, 100% would recommend. Shall we try again? Shall we roll another die? Roll that dice. Boy, so where are we at? We've got, okay. That was one of those ones where I was like, is that a 9? No, it's a 6. Okay, let's see number 6. Number 6 is, you know what? I wanted to ask this question whilst we were talking earlier. So this is actually really good that I didn't let it slip out. I was like, I might have to ask this later. It was, how did you start playing TTRPGs? Yeah, so we've mentioned him already. Joe is my husband. And it's all his fault. It's all his fault. So, story time. We were at school together. We were in different years, but we did like the nerdy kid stuff together, the reading competitions and the mock trial law competitions, like proper nerdy stuff. And we also did school plays together. And we got on quite well. We did Much Ado together when we were like 15, and we ended up playing the lead couple in the school musical in sixth form. And I felt...
Who did you play? I totally want to know.
In Much Ado or in the musical?
Both. I want to know what musical. I want to know who was it. Beatrice and Benedict as well?
No, in Much Ado, the sixth formers got the lead, and we were a bit younger. Joe was Claudio, playing a really good, sweet incel. He did it really well. And then I was Don John, which was the first of a long trend of playing male villains on stage. Nice. And we became friends doing that show because there's a bit where Claudio has to yell at Don John, and we couldn't do it without both of us corpsing, bursting out laughing. And so our plan to solve this was that we would jump out at each other around school and yell at each other, and that was meant to cure us. It didn't. It made it worse.
100%. Yeah.
And then the musical was very bad. Our drama teacher had actually gone to drama school and devised this play about Merlin and Arthur, and thought it would be a great idea to revive it with the school cast. And it was, it was what it was, but it was so much fun to do because it was, waving your hands around to do magic and hitting people with swords. And Joe was Merlin, and I was Nimue, the Lady of the Lake, and we were the sort of power couple making everything happen, standing at the back of the stage, wafting.
Nice.
Yeah. And it was during Merlin that I fell head over heels in love with him. And he did not notice. And
Typical man.
I mean, I wasn't a chessboard, so I was less interesting at the time when he was 17. But there was a point to this. What was the point? TTRPGs. We went our separate ways. We actually went to the same university, but different colleges, and we didn't really bump into each other. And then we got back in touch because During Merlin rehearsals, I punched him in the face. I hadn't meant to do it. We were rehearsing stage combat things that we didn't need to be at because we were the magic-y people, but why would you miss a stage combat class? And I say he took a step forward. He says I took a step forward. It was probably my fault. I actually punched him in the face, and he was a proper gentleman about it. And because it was 2011, I went home and wrote a Facebook status about it. Ha 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 ha. Stage combat was fun. Punched Joe in the face. And then Facebook did that stupid thing of, hey, Rebecca, here's a memory. 5 years ago, you punched her in the face. So I dropped him a message being like, hi, happy punching anniversary. How are you doing? And we started chatting. At the same time, I moved in with a school friend of both of ours. I'd left drama school, left my horrible digs, and moved in with a school friend who is a big TTRPG fan. He loves board games and video games and D&D and fudge and all sorts of those things that I had, the game system fudge, not like...
I was going to say, like, you've never eaten fudge before? You're like, what is this delicious snack?
But this was a whole new world. I had, like, my experience of board games was Monopoly and Ludo, and, you know, my experience of video games was playing solitaire on the computer. Like, I had no idea what any of this was and thought it all looked a bit boring and weird and boys. But this wonderful friend of mine went, I really want to teach you to play D&D. I love D&D. I want to teach you and your sister. I think you'll be brilliant at it. And I kind of went, I'm busy and it sounds so boring. And our friend Greg went, oh, and I think I'll get, do you remember Joe? Joe from school? I think I'll get him to teach you. Yes, I will play D&D. Yes, teach me. This sounds wonderful. So it wasn't my proudest feminist moment that I got into D&D to impress a boy.
It's feminist to like go for what you want and follow your heart. So, you know, women can be in love too.
Yeah, and you know, I married him. So, you know, it did work out. And he is now a very, very chivalrous person about the fact that the game he loved long before I did, I now get to play on the internet. He's very, very nice about that. And is very proud of me, and very, very rarely goes, oh.
And he doesn't bring up the time you punched him in the face that often, I'm guessing.
All the time.
That
was like the headline of his speech at our wedding. Like,
so I look forward to many years of being sucked in the face. Just for the record, she stepped forward.
You were there? I didn't realise we'd known you back then. Yeah, it was. We have to be pretty careful that we clarify immediately. Stage combat, acting. I don't beat up my husband, but yeah.
Only when he deserves it. That's beautiful. No, I'm not the being up of husbands, but
we don't do that.
What a lovely story. I can't believe that's like, that's such a beautiful, like, way to get into TTRPGs.
Do you want to make it one step cuter?
Please.
So when Joe and I were dating and engaged, I was on tour a lot. I did a few national tours and was just gone for months. And the first tour I went on, we struggled because on the phone, there's not much really to say after you've spent, because I would finish the show and pack down and get to the digs and then call him, by which point he was knackered and basically asleep.
100%, yeah.
So we didn't really have much to say. How was your day? Fine. How was your day? We did a show. Cool. Yeah. And so for the next year, when I went away for months, Joe DM'd a solo campaign for me so that every time I had any time in my schedule that matched up with his work schedule, she was called Lyria. We started at level 0 when she was a child, and he just DM'd like her growing up, her learning loads of skills, and then gently from the skills that I chose for her to learn as she grew up and from the decisions I made that chose where she would end up, then like what class she ended up as. So yeah,
very good.
Yeah, can recommend if you're ever in a long distance relationship, have a solo D&D campaign. It is.
I was gonna say, yeah,
such a good way of keeping in touch.
That's how you do it, though. Like, it's genuine. It is hard. It's hard to have a long distance relationship. But you're right. You don't have anything to say because everything to be said is usually when you're in person. Being a fan is weird, and that is That's how you do it. You keep it fun and you keep enjoying each other's company the best ways you know how.
It was great.
That is a step cuter. Well done.
Thank you. I will stop being adorable about my husband now, or I will never stop.
No, I hope that every question somehow comes back to how much I am in love with Joe, because
everyone is. It's fine.
He is a lovely human being. Okay, we'll have another roll.
We should.
Otherwise, I'm just gonna cry all day, and then when I start crying. But yeah, let's roll of that dice. Okay, so that's a 14 and a 14. Oh, here we go.
Oh.
What's the funniest moment you've ever experienced in game?
Oh no, there's so many.
Exactly.
Oh.
It's a hard one.
No, it's suddenly become a lot easier. I was starting to think about all the different campaigns and all the different things, and then I looked at your face.
Ah, thank you.
And that has crystallized. It has to be Arda getting it on with every inanimate object.
Not every inanimate object.
I'm sorry, they do have to be vaguely dead and humanoid.
Yeah.
And actually, you did that beautifully, because it was hilarious, because, Barda, with her beautiful happy home life and all her boss awesome skills, then having the hots for a skeleton with crow feathers, and the very specific questions that then came up about how that worked was just some of the hardest I've ever laughed whilst playing D&D. But then you turned it around and made it really, really heartbreaking. And I have no idea how you did that switch from one to the other. But yeah, it's still just one of my favourite moments in a D&D game.
To be fair, neither do I. I love playing because it feels like you can just switch off sometimes. And it's great to talk to you about it, because part of me forgets that these things happen. I don't know. I was doing my taxes today, that was really fun. That was just super fun. And you're right, I didn't expect those questions either. I don't think that's the first thing you think. I mean, it's interesting that it's the first thing that you guys thought.
From what I remember, there may have been a party split between mask people and femme people, with the and was what I remember the general split of reactions being.
Just a general lack of understanding on my part, I believe.
It was beautiful. But also, fair play to George, who, he DM'd that whole campaign so well. But to make Darvax so funny, and then so much of a campaign villain, and then to turn him around and have that really sweet humanity. Yeah, he was a good NPC.
He had me in literal. I think it was the penultimate episode when we were. I think were you messaging Darvax? Were you sending to Darvax?
Yes, because Barda was really freaked. Darvax had said something threatening, and Barda had taken it really seriously, that your family were going to die. And I was the only one with the sending spell, so you were having to negotiate. Barda was having to negotiate with Veracity. And I think it got to a point where Veracity was like, I do not want to send that message. Yes, we ended up sending something, I think.
It was a very wonderful, almost. It felt like an adoptive, because it started off kind of as a role model kind of thing, but then I think it very quickly turned into more of an older sister, younger sister vibe. Whereas, you actually annoy me. You've upset me, Barda, and you actually done my head in. I thought you were cool.
Oh yeah, I had forgotten we had that really big argument because you did something terrible. You lied to us.
Yeah, I didn't tell anybody that I had relations with a skeleton man.
The clue is in the name. Veracity does not like being lied to.
It was beautiful, though. It was genuinely. I love a good scene where I feel where I can feel it in my heart, where I feel what's happening is happening and it's real good. And it speaks a lot about the fact that I love to play with you as well, because afterwards it wasn't like I was going off going, Rebecca, what a douche. It was actually more like, yeah, that was awesome. Like, I love that. I can't wait to do next week and continue to argue with you for like another another 3 hours of hatred.
We've talked about PvP before. I know I have on here. And that, I think, is still my textbook example of my favorite role-play PvP, because I knew that you and I were having a great time underneath the fact that we're actors and we were really feeling all of it. And then, we finished. Well, are you okay? Yes, that was amazing. Yeah, because you have to have that. Yeah, you're awesome, and I'm not going away going, Naail really upset me, to make it fun. But when you've got that, it's so much fun.
Isn't it? It was genuinely one of the most. I always recommend when I'm telling people this is what I do, and I always say listen to Buried, because that's my favorite one. I thought George and you guys all together, it was such a fun campaign, and there was like the I guess the behind the scenes for people watching was that we would finish the game and literally just be like, oh my God, well done. You're fantastic. No,
you were fantastic. No. We really were quite obnoxious, weren't we? We'd go around and be like, no, you were wonderful. No, you. Oh, that bit you did. Oh, but that bit you did. Yeah. Oh, it was such a nice group of people to play with.
Everybody was just everybody else's hype man. We had Ed, who is just, I think Ed stands for me on top of the hype man hill when it comes to the Roll Together group, because Ed is just like, everything you do, he's there for. And he's
his
like,
reactions in game as well, like not just afterwards, but in game you'll do something, he'll go, oh, yes.
Yeah. And he's
so
like
affirming.
whooping and getting you going. And sometimes it's like the perfect music score where you don't notice it until your heart sort of leaps and you're like, yes, Ed was there, whooping me on. But what a wonderful game, wonderful memories. Shall we
get to play together again really soon? This is good.
Yeah, so might as well talk about it. I feel like we should. I feel like it's a cool thing and it's a nice way to tie it up. I think on a previous Talks Together, I mentioned that I might be running, I am running, I might be running, running a new 12-parter for Roll Together called Into the Wastelands, The Eternal Army. And Rebecca is coming back to play. And do you want to tell everyone who you're playing as?
Yes, I am coming back with Veracity, which I am so excited about because she was so joyful. And I think I said last time I did this, that leaving her where she was broke my heart. So you now have to deal with the fact that she's cursed and she can't stay anywhere for more than like a couple of days at a time. So I'm really sorry to drop that with you as a DM, but it's sort of Barda's fault that it happened. So...
I mean, I don't think it was. I feel like, if anything,
no, it's not at all.
That was definitely Veracity's.
Yeah, it was totally Veracity's, but she was trying to protect you, so we'll say it's her fault.
You don't poke the Fae mistress of what was it? What was her name?
It wasn't Rack and Rue, and it was Drusilda.
Drusilda the Conservator.
The Jam Maker, yes. I'd forgotten
Drusilda
her.
the Jam Maker.
Yeah. I still stand by that Veracity wasn't being a rash idiot going, I'm just going to irritate this Archfey. Everyone else was frozen. She was the only one who passed the saving throw. Yeah. So she was going, look at me, look at me, look at me, look at me, ignore my helpless friends. And it backfired. But it was her being brave rather than her just opening her big fat mouth.
But what a wonderful consequence to come away from. I'm figuring that out and having that downtime outside next to the lake.
Breaks my heart.
I have given some, because I think we only talked about Veracity maybe like a couple of weeks ago, and because you messaged me, do you want a new character or can I bring back Veracity? And I was like, hey, it's not up to me. You can do whatever you want in my case, but we got the go ahead from George.
George is very excited that Veracity is coming back.
I've got big shoes to fill when it comes to doing a 12-part, especially with George's wonderful work that we had. But yeah, it's been really nice to sort of my brain is a very much like a passive worker. Whilst I'm doing other work, it decides to solve other problems. It's like what I'm doing in front of me. I'm like, what is this? Oh, did you think about that? Oh, yeah. Anyway, back to the matter at hand. But yeah, it's been really nice having these wonderful little flashes of memory and coming into like new ideas in terms of veracity and like remembering that she had a curse and that it was like how potent was that, and then trying to figure out how to get you to where we're going to be starting, and then tying it all in. And there's stuff that I will talk to you about in the near future, and I'll probably send you a good paragraph of like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Let's talk some more. This is if any DMs out there, 100% recommend talk to players. You know what I mean? Just like they're the people that come up with the most interesting things. As much as it takes time to like create a story and all that, the players are the ones that make the story better. I mean, there we go. Do you know what I mean? We wouldn't have had this wonderful curse if it wasn't for Veracity mouthing up to a fake queen. But here we are.
Fine. No, I'm so excited for this new campaign. It's going to be a blast.
100%. All right, let's roll that dice.
More questions.
More questions. That is a number 7.
No.
Let's have a look-see here. Ooh. Is there a moment in a TTRPG that impacted your life out of game?
Oh, boy. Yeah, actually.
Oh, okay.
Not a particularly good one necessarily, but maybe it's the paladin thing. I'm quite good at making space for other people's sort of feelings, and if they need to have a yell, cool, have a yell, and then we'll move on. And I was playing a game where it just wasn't fun at all. It was really miserable because the DM and a couple of the players, they're wonderful, brilliant people and friends, but they were going through quite a difficult time. And it was just really, really unfun and made the game unfun and playing unfun. And my character, I had thought about having the conversation out of game, but again, they were just going through a difficult time and being like, hey guys, you're making me miserable. Not a helpful thing to say. But in game, my character just stood on their own 2 feet for a bit and kind of went, no, don't talk to me like that, please. No, thank you. And because it was in game and this wasn't a passive aggressive, horrible thing where I was being mean to the real people, I did all the safety stuff of checking everyone was happy, and it wasn't really PvP. It was just, can we change the dynamics of our characters slightly? And it sounds a bit pathetic, but it did help me grow a spine in real life as well. Because if you get the kind of safe option of trying something out in a fantasy land where the worst that can happen is maybe your character dies, or maybe you roll a new character, or, or the players go, I didn't enjoy that conversation. Can we please not have that again? Yeah, it's a really good testing ground for, oh, look, I said, no, thank you, please don't talk to me like that. And the sky didn't fall in. Or maybe I could try that in real life. And it was a few years ago, but it's definitely marked me growing a bit more of a spine and being able to be a bit more of a, no, thanks.
That's really good.
Yeah, I've got a lot better as a human being at going, actually, if someone is yelling at me, I can just walk away. I know I'm a very nice person, but I don't have to sit here and let you yell at me. I can just wait until you're ready to talk in a slightly more pleasant way, and then we can have a conversation. And I do actually mark that slightly to that D&D game where I kind of went, oh, I can do this. Socialized female and a vicar's kid, all about being terribly polite to people and making space for their feelings.
Yeah.
So D&D has definitely helped. Persephone didn't take any crap from anyone. And,
So, yeah.
So, like, in real life, I cannot go around and deck people who are rude to me. I mean, I could. I shouldn't.
Probably be in jail, yeah.
Yeah. But just, like, again, it does sound just a bit naff, but getting to play I almost always choose to play women, and getting to play empowered, ferocious women with spectacular skills is just a reminder that, sure, I may not be able to punch an aboleth to death, but also I am an empowered, ferocious woman with lots of skills, and maybe I can also stand up for myself a bit. So D&D has really helped me, grow a bit of a backbone.
That's awesome. I mean, what is the TTRPG, or, and especially storytelling, other than finding the hero within you to express outwards. And then it's amazing to hear that, I remember being asked this question, really struggling. I was like, okay, I don't know. But that puts a whole different light on the whole situation, because you do come away with like life lessons, and you do, especially if you're with a good DM as well, I guess, like you're learning more, and there's always something to be taken away from it. And, like you say, it's amazing that you can be in a position that's actually quite difficult and quite awful. But the fact that it's a game, I guess, does make it a bit more easy to deal with. And I don't know, that's heroic in my eyes. I think being able to stand up for yourself and walk out of a situation rather than make the situation worse, I think that's a hero. In any sense of the word. But thank you for that. That's a lovely,
I think I'm also going to take back that I said it sounded a bit pathetic, because we don't say that with theatre. We say that you go and see a play and it's cathartic and it teaches you empathy and it teaches you whole things about life. And why should I diminish D&D, which means so many things, so many people? I think it's just as capable of doing it as Shakespeare. The 100%. Text may not always be quite as good, but it's still feelings and people and relationships and conflict. And some dice.
And friends as well. Like, it can be such a difficult thing. I hear about all these, like I like to go onto Reddit and read RPG horror stories. I don't know if you've been on there.
I've seen a couple. They're good fun.
And it's just like, sometimes they are good fun, but sometimes they're heartbreaking. And like, these people are genuinely asking for advice. They're like, I don't know what to do. And I think, if anyone listening here, prime example is you can grow and allow that space and allow your own space, take your own space. And it isn't right to let people, I don't know, I want to say get away with it, because it sounds like you were very compassionate to them. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. If you're doing something kindly, then that's all that should be seen and all that should be done, really. But on that lovely note, should we roll that dice? Oh.
Yes.
That is a 13.
Ew.
Lucky for some, unlucky for most. What do dice mean to you?
Pretty.
Pretty. 100%. The prettiest gremlin goblin of dice.
Yeah, I have lots. And lots. I try and have a particular set for every character I play.
Yeah.
And, so Veracity has some very sparkly orange fiery dice. Persephone had some very moody purple dice. And it sounds a bit naff. It's just a useful little visual reminder of this is the character I'm playing. Just a mood board almost of what kind of character they're like. So I would never play Persephone with very bright, sparkly dice, because that would be weird. And Veracity, would never play anything too dark and bloody and moody unless something goes really wrong in your campaign.
No, I don't know what I've got planned. I don't know what I've got planned.
But they're also just so pretty. I don't use the D&D Beyond Dice Roller. Like, it's a wonderful tool and it's great, but there's just something about rolling physical dice on a table that you can't replace with a computer, I don't think.
I'm 100% with you. And like, at least when I roll with my own hands, I know it's me fucking myself over, not a computer.
Yeah.
Like when you roll those ones, it's like, no, it's just me.
I don't roll ones, Naail. I don't know what you mean.
Can I have some of that good luck? Maybe I should play with your dice. That's all I want to say.
It's not my dice. Every time I roll too many 20s, I swap dice over, and it's not the dice. It is just me. I do just roll well.
It's just amazing. That's all it is.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I was literally just going to ask something about dice that I was thinking is, how do you feel about the different ways it's used? So, like we've got, especially in a D&D system, but I've been talking to, I work in a geek bar and they've got like 300 board games and they do lots of different, there's a lot of D&D sessions and I run one of them, but then there's like, you know, like Star Wars systems and things like that. So especially with like board games, and like you said, I started with Monopoly. How was it from going from, I remember the first time, and I think it was like Warhammer, maybe, or like, it's Warhammer, isn't it? Yeah, where you first saw like the D12s and stuff like that. And I was like, what? Like, did you have that like initial moment where you're like, I didn't know dice could have more than 6 sides?
I definitely remember looking at them and being like, okay. But I think when Greg and Joe introduced me to D&D, they were very careful to sort of introduce one die at a time. So sort of like, this is a D20, this is what you need, this will make your decisions for you. And then, you know, if I rolled an attack that needed a D8, they'd be like, right, this is a D8. So I don't think it was just a dump. There you go.
Yeah.
And I love all the extra elements that they involve. Like, one of the reasons I hate board games so much is that I was brought up on the really boring basic ones where your choices were skill and luck. That's it.
Yeah.
Whereas with D&D and all the extra die, there's so many more places for chance to work in really interesting ways. And then as well as skill and luck, there's also like imagination, which makes it so much more fun.
Have you had it yet where that crosses, where somebody like gets you to play in-game with the dice, if that makes sense?
Ooh, I don't know. Yes, I went to a casino once in a game and had to win an in-game game to get some information. It went very badly. That was the one, for reference, go back to my talk together in April where my druid got into a lot of trouble and forgot she could do magic.
Hey, I've been there. I think the first game I played with Roll Together for like the testing just to see how I'd play, I played a druid who forgot they could wild shape.
Oh, but this was not a character choice. This was panicking at the situation we were in, was like, I don't know how to get out of this. and then my entire party were like, hey, Rebecca, you have Charm Person as one of your spells. That'd be a really good spell right now. Spells! Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Nah, that's awesome, man. I love that when people do interesting things with dice in game and like get you to use them in ways that that you've never thought of before. I have like I got it from listening to other people DM, but I love getting people to roll just for things.
Yeah.
Like and stuff that you need, but getting players to roll for it and stuff like that, I think it gives the players a bit more fun.
Yeah. I think my favorite mechanic I've ever had used by a DM in a game I was playing was a reckless check. It was, again, Rowan, my druid. She had just escaped from an archmage's tower that like just got out by the skin of her teeth, but she was really angry about something. And I was kind of there like, I know that the stupidest thing in the world I could do would be to turn around and try and sneak back in and go fix the thing I was angry about. I know that that's an impossibly stupid decision, but my character is not thinking straight. She's furious. She's exhausted. She's really emotional. I don't know how to decide this. And the DM went, make a reckless check, roll a D100. And he gave me a 2/3 chance of not going back in. It was if the number was divisible by 3. Then the recklessness won and I went back in. And I rolled like a 9. I went straight back in that. It went very badly. But I really enjoyed that mechanic of like not knowing whether it's metagaming or whether it's just preventing yourself from doing something really stupid. I really liked the die roll to make that decision for you. It was great.
I think it's another thing of like when, I don't know about you, but when I first played, the dice rolling was very little, whereas I think you once you start getting more of a hang of the rules, you start to roll dice a lot more. Yeah. And then it's that balance of like finding, because I don't know about when you and Joe were doing that the one person one. This is how I started, was me and my friend was just playing D&D, me and him, and I'd tell the story and roll the dice, or he'd tell the story and I'd do all the mechanics for him. But that meant a lot of the times I'd be like, that's fine. No one's ever going to sound. I'm just making it up anyway. So yeah, how did that go? Did you have a lot of dice when you were doing the one-on-one kind of game?
Not loads, but yeah, enough. There were lots of skill checks, and we would have conversations. But if it was just a role play conversation, no dice. But if it was to persuade, to intimidate, there'd be several checks. And also some decision-making dice, because she was a level 0 to start with. And so she had so many choices to make about, even stuff like when she finally got herself into a school, like which lessons is she going to excel at? Because that will end up, I think she ended up a ranger, because I rolled really well in those classes and really badly in some of the others. So yeah, it was a nice balance of enough that it did still feel chance and random and not scripted, but not so much. I was like, come on, I'm rolling all the time. It was a good balance.
Awesome. Well, speaking of rolling, let's roll that dice. That's going to crack me up for too long. I rolled a 3, which means, sorry, I was just looking at the actual question for that. I was like, what actual question is that? But yeah, no, apparently I can only roll low. So what is your favorite character class?
Oh dear.
It's hard. There's so many.
Yeah. I have to say, much as I am loving Liz's campaign so much, I am learning it's not a cleric.
Ember is so much fun that I have to say, congratulations on playing such an amazing fairy with such a massive maul. Like, you do come up with some great character concepts.
Thank you very much. It's very odd. In my head, when I started working out that I was going to play a Twilight Parrot, I was thinking of a furbolg. And then somehow she turned into a tiny, tiny fairy. I don't know quite how that happened. And I love Ember. She's so much fun. And playing in Liz's campaign is brilliant. They are wonderful. But cleric doesn't quite do it for me. I am learning. I've only ever played clerics for one-shots before, so never quite. Yeah.
And you're quite high level as well. What level are you playing the cleric at?
7 and 8, I think.
Yeah, so yeah, that's like you kind of get like the teeth into something and you know whether or not you like it around that 7 or 8.
I love it as a change, but what I'm learning is, much as I want to enable other people to have their big smashy hero moments, I want my big smashy hero moments. And I catch myself going to like square up and do the talking, or going to doing the big hit and being like, no, that's not my job. My job is to do party support. And I know you can play a cleric. And, David did a fantastic job of this with Aldrin, as absolutely not someone who just rushes and heals all the time. I think for quite a few episodes, he'd pack one healing spell for the whole day. But I was the last person to pick a class. I quite like being the last person to pick a class, so I can see what's needed. And we needed a support player. And I haven't really done that before. I'm used to being someone up front, high in initiative, quite confident to go, whether or not they have high charisma, confident to go and have those conversations. So it's been really fun to try, but yeah, no, I miss having the lip, and I miss having the like hard hits and all the damage and the dex and those things. So I take my hat off to those who can play a cleric well, because yeah, it's not me.
To be fair, I'll give you a little bit of knowledge drop somebody gave me. There's like really naughty ways to make your clerics like those just like one punch guns that you can just squish people with. I think clerics of the grave or something.
They're scary cool.
They make people vulnerable to damage, so that if you've got something that's already vulnerable, you just squish it to death. So 100% recommend. Maybe cleric's not for you. But
no, I will check it out. Partly I just don't know enough about optimizing yet. I'm new to all of that side of it. And then partly I did want to try my hand at but specifically supporting, rather than going, well, I'll play a support character, but actually I'm the tank, just to see how much I liked it. And I do like a lot of it. And I
You're
love the
very good
party
at
I'm
it.
with. But
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, I've been listening to you play Ember, and I remember there was a conscious decision you made. I think it was the first episode. You just went, "There's one left, and I don't want to waste the spell slots." And they just squished it with your mates.
That was really fun.
Very well played. Very well played.
Possibly it's just coming straight off playing Persephone, who is the exact opposite in so many ways, that I had 12 straight weeks of going, hello, I'm top of the initiative round. I'm going to go in and punch it 4 times and deal 3-figure damage. And I do like that way of playing. So suddenly switching to backup and healing is just very different. I think possibly if I gave it longer, I'd really... And I'm having a blast on stream. Like, Ember is so much fun to play, and this game is so much fun to play. I wouldn't put Cleric top of my list.
But go on, you said...
It used to be Bard. Loved Bard because it was easy, because it was just doing me, but with magic. But now it has to be a tie between monks and druids, actually, the 2 I played on stream the most.
Okay.
Monks, for their simplicity, you punch things, and you have a variety of ways in which you can punch things, but that's what you do. And I really enjoyed the not needing to have, sheets and sheets of spells and all sorts of whizzy, technical, clever things, because that frees up so much brain space for all the other things I might want to do in combat and all the other ways my character exists in the world. So I found a monk actually really useful way into a roleplay heavy character, because I'm not thinking about spells all the time. My choice is, do I spend a key point and hit them twice, or just hit them once? And I really liked that. Yeah, the simpleness of the mechanics, so I had brain space for feelings. Having a PC relationship, which I was not expecting and then it happened, and it was amazing.
That's always wonderful as well. Like, when it comes out of nowhere and you're like, oh, this is the way we're going to go.
It was really great, especially finishing Corrupted with like the very seeds of that, like, oh, Asher and Persephone are like getting together, and then coming back and being like, right, Asher and Persephone are a couple.
Yeah.
How do I play a couple with, at that point, George and I had never met in real life. So we had a Zoom meeting to be like, how can we make this fun and not creepy? I think we pulled it off. It was a lot of fun, certainly. But yeah, druids I love for the versatility, especially a wildfire druid, because you can do so much damage.
We've seen and such creative ways of doing it as well.
Yeah.
With the wildfire spirit. It's wildfire spirit, isn't it?
Yeah, wildfire spirit can do damage, but can also heal. And to be fair, I did just get lucky in that we went to a plant plane and I had packed blight. So that was just fortunate. But you can hit so hard. You can wild shape and become really hard to hit. You can be fast. You can get other people out of danger, and you can also, as a wildfire druid, do quite a lot of healing. They are designed to kind of be 50-50 damage dealing and healing, and I love that versatility because it adapts to whatever the party needs. And sure, I will always want to jump in and do a couple of heavy hits, but if we're in a party where actually they need more of a healer, that's still fine, because there are so many fun and unique ways of doing it. And you get to swap out your spells every day. I love that. And you get Shillelagh, which is the best cantrip of all time.
Even better than prestidigitation.
Oh, how could you? No, oh no. It's the best combat cantrip of all time.
Even better than Fireball.
Yes, Fireball is not a cantrip. And it's just so good. It's a cantrip, and then you hit people really, really hard with a stick that sprouted some flowers. Like, I think that's my aesthetic.
Yeah, well, druid hitting people with flowers is a great aesthetic to have. And to be fair, I can see it. Is there last before, like, because my curiosity is getting the better of me? Is there anything that you haven't played yet? If that makes sense.
I have never played a fighter. And I've never played an artificer.
Yeah.
I feel like there might be one more. I've barely played a wizard. In the Training Wheels campaign I did with Joe and Greg all those years ago, they built me a wizard because I went, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
So I've barely played a wizard. yeah, never touched a fighter and an artificer, and I think that's it.
Have you played Barbarian then? You must have had fun smashing stuff. Yeah,
I've played a straight Barbarian, and then I've played a multi-class Circle of the Moon Druid and Barbarian, which is amazing because you rage and then you turn into a wolf.
Turn into an animal, yeah, very good.
That was a lot of fun. But no, I really enjoyed Barbarian. But I just don't think you can beat Nat's Granny Valka just running around bashing things and then offering everyone a cup of tea and biscuits. Like, that big granny energy was so wonderful.
Oh yeah, no, it's hard to live up to these kinds of things. Well, I think that's about time, really. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I'm super excited to be playing with you very soon. I forget the dates, but they are around here somewhere.
Soon.
Yeah, we will be playing. We'll be playing very soon. I think end of September. I think is our first. I think it's the 27th. Don't quote me on that.
That is a Monday.
It'll be in the chat. So yeah, check out the chat, guys. There should be the dates there. And yeah, I'm just super excited. I've been planning it for a while now. Talking to quite a few people about what they think should happen. I'm really fucking looking forward to playing with the players and seeing what they think. And it's just gonna be a really good campaign. And thank you guys for joining us tonight. It's great that you're here to support the show and enjoying these talks with our wonderful players. We stream every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. GMT and stream D&D games on Mondays and Tuesdays. On Mondays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. GMT. All of our shows do stream at twitch.tv/rolltogetherrpg. And there's also a YouTube link in the chat. And don't forget, you can also enjoy this as a podcast. If you don't want to see our lovely faces, you can just listen to our lovely voices instead. Many thanks again to our Dice Heads, our D20 Club on Patreon. Thank you to all of our sponsors and supporters. And stay classy, guys. It's been a wonderful, wonderful chat as always, Rebecca, and we'll see you soon.